And one. Hey guys.
Hey.
We are live with Chris Garner and Danny Moore Jr. from number 9, Sharples, West Virginia. What's up, fellas?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Little number 9 reunion here.
little number 9 reunion. Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you both. What's everybody been doing here on this Sunday evening?
Just cleaning up around outside on this beautiful day.
What a gorgeous day it was.
Yes.
That's a little more effort than I'd put in. I turned 50 last weekend, so I just had a nap earlier today.
I still do those. I just turned 50 in December, so I understand.
Oh man. Happy birthday to both of you guys. Yeah, wow, 50. Wow. Whew, that's a big number.
And that's over half our life at this point. I can safely say that.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's a half.
We were just talking a few minutes ago, and hello to all you alumni out there. We got Danny Moore, Chris Garner from the class of 1991 with us. Paul's going to be hopping in a minute, and the reunion committee. We just have been talking about the continuation of the story we told with the guys in 3 parts for the 92 team, and we wanted to get these 2 guys, my neighbors, cousins, and fellow number 90ans, just together to talk about, what that was like, what that experience of going to Spruce and Sharples was like, and man, we had some crazy times in number 9, right? I was a little bit on the back end of that. Paul is 3 years older than me. You guys are 4, but we all grew up together.
It's
like,
we've always
doing something. And when Greg, was finally gone, then it was up to you 2 guys to take the lead. You guys remember that when Greg kind of bossed us around forever when we were, and then he went to college and left us in y'all's capable hands.
Well, he trained us well.
His little minions.
I'm not sure how well we led after that, but we got in our share of trouble.
Hey, right before we hopped on, when we were waiting on you, Danny and Chris were talking about, the mud battles and the pawpaw battles across the creek back and forth, and Danny was regaling us a story of the bridge, the infamous bridge building down there between the.
Paul, was it you that swam underneath of it and got hung on a nail?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think I still have a scar on my leg from that.
And then did you go home and get in trouble too for getting hurt? Because
I don't remember getting in trouble, but yeah, that was a really nice construction project right there.
You got hurt today. You got a nail in your leg. Your dad is going to wear you out when he gets home.
Right?
Am I not hurt enough already? So, Paul, why did you swim under the bridge? Danny said you were swimming. Well,
I don't know. I just always used to do some crazy stuff. To get these ideas and think, I'm going to try that. Go for it.
Go underneath of that.
Boys, when they're growing up, I think we need some kind of a voice of reason. We need someone accountable. Another guy like, man, we might die. We might die again to this holding pond in the middle of Westmoreland country.
Yeah, I don't
probably shouldn't do.
Right, I don't think that voice of reason was any of us.
No.
This was the agate arm with the flashlight. Are you going to jump? Are you going to jump? I'm going to jump when I'm ready, Jason would say to Danny.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
it. Yeah. I don't think
you guys have the great brother rivalries of all time. You and your brother.
What is it now?
You and your brother have one of the great brother rivalries of all time. Like,
yes.
That's what you want, man. You might have beat the snot out of Jason, but you're not going to keep that boy down. He's just going to get up and do something else stupid.
Well, most of the time I wouldn't do anything to him. I just talk hateful to him.
Well, since Jason's not here to defend himself, we've got a cabin story we can definitely tell about Jason.
Oh, do it. Yes.
One of the being from number 9, I don't know how many cabins we ended up building. Probably in the neighborhood of 5 or 6 anyway.
Good of it.
at one of them that was between number 9 and the grade school, off in the bottom there. We went camping one night, and I remember we've been up like all night. I'm not sure how tired we were, if we were ready for bed or not. But anyway, we had bunk beds in that, and I remember Jason was on the top bunk, and Danny grabbed his underwear, pulled his underwear off of him. 2 seconds later, Jason's got another pair of underwear. I don't know how many pairs of underwear this kid packed for one night camping, but it was like 4 times Danny goes over and pulls the underwear off the boy.
I remember that. Oh wow!
I don't know if we can tell this story. This is horrible, man. Jason's not here. It's true.
That was PG-13 rated right there.
Yeah.
Jason was prepared. He's shining that light over in his bag. I'm like, Jason, what? How many pairs of, that boy brought 3 dozen pairs of underwear, man. He knew his brother.
I think he was afraid of messing himself, so he had back up.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was nervous when he first started talking because I wasn't sure which one of those stories he was going to tell.
Well, now,
there's so many of them.
Now, I remember one on Paul. We was riding a bicycle late at night, probably like at midnight, and for whatever reason, we're
that was fun.
Sharples there at the and we come right there to where you turn at Monclo, and nobody really knew where we was going with these bicycles. And at the last second, Jason, I think, cut up Monclo, and Paul was a little bit too late. And was it you that slid in the middle of the road, hit the gravel?
It probably was. I don't remember that, but I've wrecked plenty of times sliding on gravel.
Yeah, somebody hit the gravel, and they just laid it down, slid right through the road, and had a little road rash. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, we used to go on adventures late at night like that.
Yeah,
The late night adventures, whether we're going to go walking somewhere or we're going to ride our bicycles up Blair or Monclo. For what? I don't know. Because every time a car would come at 4 o'clock in the morning, you jump into the weeds with your bike and get down and try not to be seen.
Well,
you know,
we've been planning stuff out. We go and get the tires and all that to have a bonfire at the trestle. That way we could swim and have some kind of light there when we was jumping. That way we know where we're jumping and hitting the water at.
listen, just a general story about swimming at the trestle. First of all, Chris, I know what you're going to bring up. We have time. We'll bring it up. I promise. I'll tell that worst story on myself. But why do we always want to go swimming at the trestle at night? And why did we? I mean, it was fun for guys, but why did we think that was a great way to meet girls in the middle of Sharples, West Virginia? Why would we think they would want to go meet us at the trestle? They're always like, now she don't want to come. No, she doesn't want to bring her 4 cousins. I don't know why it was a mystery that was just a less than romantic meetup spot. So I don't know if I'm getting anyone in trouble with their wives right now, because I will stop. But anyway, we were basically striking out, inviting girls to swim at the trestle. Right? Am I right?
It never did happen.
What I'm talking about.
No comment.
Danny knows what I'm talking. Paul, don't leave me hanging here.
And we were going to swim regardless. If they didn't show up at that time, we were just going to go swim.
Exactly.
We had fun either way.
Romeo, irresistible. Good girl. All right, let's move on to other things before I get us all in trouble. So, I want to reel it back in and eventually get to basketball. So, I remember so many things about Sharples High School, but one of the things that I remember a lot was getting in trouble one time for taking a ride from your mom, Sue, because we had just. She's like, the bus driver called and said you didn't ride the bus. And I'm like, Mama Sue, she said get on in. Everybody else from the neighborhood was in her car. So, but like the bus stop shenanigans, man. What do you guys remember? Did you guys meet each other at Spruce grade school? You and Chris?
We started out in kindergarten together.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. When were you guys pals early on? What was kindergarten like for you guys?
I remember kindergarten, and I think you had Miss Roddy in first grade, didn't you?
I did.
And I had I'm trying to remember who my first grade teacher was. Miss Moxley.
Probably she was first grade teacher then.
And I had Miss Moxley, and then after that we would be in classes in and out.
Yeah.
From then on. So, but I can remember there's several of us that wasn't together in first grade that had Miss Roddy, and I had Miss Moxley, and that was her first class.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when we started doing that. I was in Mrs. Roddy's class, and then the other kids, well, in kindergarten, I was in the afternoon class, and the Blair kids were the morning class, and then Mrs. Roddy and Mrs. Moxley had split up the fourth grade. That's strange. What's your memory of that, Chris?
I still don't know why they would have split our grades up like that, but I remember being in a split second, third grade, a split third and fourth grade. Fourth grade, I remember I had Miss Turner in fourth grade.
we had
and it seemed like we were all in that class.
Do you remember the prank call that we called her one time?
Are we going down this road already? Daddy, do the prank call. I'll be Mrs. Turner. You do the prank call. I'll do it.
This is before caller ID and all that. So we called her and told her somebody was having a home interior party because she loved interior parties. We call her and tell her that somebody's having one on certain date and all that. Well, we laughing about it and all that. Well, fast forward to when the party is, it's a big snowstorm. So we have to remember the prank and call her back and tell her, hey, it's been canceled because of the snow.
You're horrible. You guys are horrible human beings.
We used to prank call everybody.
I know. It was so fun. We were
well. The
that was part of being at the Moore's house right there.
That's it.
My dad had a phone out in the garage. So we could go out in the garage and make the prank phone calls and nobody knew.
Yep.
I remember that. Yeah, there was a cool the garage, man. There was a cool little nook. And the garage was cool, dude. It was doing stuff in there and power tools and half-smoked cigarette butts, which I don't know why that was.
You know, should stop the list anytime now, Jeff.
Yeah, but your all's garage actually had one thing in it that I had never seen before and haven't seen since, was this sink full of green slime that when you got oil on your hands, you could stick this down in that green slime, and when they come back out, they were clean. I don't know what that stuff was, but
I was just go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, your dad had that really awesome drill press.
Yes.
Brushes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he let us yahoos in his garage. Man, Jason, you're out there, buddy. Should have invited you. You tore up some stuff, buddy. You are one destructive son of a gun. Let's take this apart and see how it works.
Yeah,
he's wonderful, man. We don't
The one thing you did not want to do at Danny Moore's house, though, was overflow one of the truck diesel tanks. Did not want to do that on that asphalt pavement over there.
A hole in it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Oh.
You get your backside blistered over it too.
Yeah. So,
hey, I've got one more Jason story if we can tell that one.
Yeah,
too,
let's do it.
Since he's not here. We always hopped on motorcycles and ride over through Sane Camp. I don't know where we would end up, but we ended up over in Buffalo Creek one time. And as soon as we pulled down off the mountain and out to the main road, we got on the main road, and then lights lit up, the blue lights lit up, the cops turned around real quick. Jason and Paul, all hanging off the back of Jason's motorcycle, just takes off up the hollow, no one they can outrun him.
We were gone.
Danny and I were the voice of reason. So we stopped and we talked to the police, and I'm not sure how all that ended up, but that was Jason and Paul on the run.
they thought they came back.
Yeah.
Oh man.
They give us a citation and we took it over to magistrate court in Logan County, and Big John Mendes said that guy wasn't even on duty. Here, it's dismissed.
Is that some of the magistrate court stuff that you took into your job as a magistrate, Danny? Is that
Well, it's part of stuff I remember that happened later on.
I was a 14-year-old boy once. Yes.
Yeah.
Dismissed.
But he took care of it, and
Throw it out.
it was over. But
That's awesome.
at the end of the day, I realized what it was. Is he didn't want to have to deal with the juvenile situation because we was underage.
More lawyers and more court costs.
Exactly. He said, "Hey, just dismiss this and be done with it."
Y'all learn your lesson.
Yeah, we learned our lesson.
That was fun stuff, though.
Thelma and Louise hit the hill, man. Ain't nobody was going to catch those two.
Nope.
Which one were you, Paul? Were you Thelma or Louise?
I don't know, but we were going, that's for sure. I kept looking back thinking, where's Chris and Danny? I couldn't see them.
All right, one more story about Jason, then I got to get back to asking these boys about Spruce Grade basketball. So this one involves Greg. I think after we had built that last big cabin. Well, there was the one behind where Jason and Shelley lived for a while. I guess that was the last.
The one where the slip was at.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we're all down there, and it had rained and rained and rained. And you guys probably remember this. And remember that fire pit would fill up with water?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would just fill up with water. We were like, man, we're going camping. It's going to be awesome. You get down there, it's just mud everywhere, man, and about 3 feet of water. So we had taken this huge piece of rough lumber, I think like a 2x8 or something like that, and put it across so we could carry all of our stuff across to the cabin. There was no other way around it. And it would get out in the middle there and it would bow way down. And then Jason got out there, with his full pack on it. Greg was shining the light for everybody. All right, next, go across the bridge. All right, next, go across the bridge. Jason gets out there. He's jumping up and down. And Greg's like, all right, what's this guy? Yeah, do it, Jason. Do it. Higher. Jason, go higher. He got his 5 or 6 jumps in. He turned that flashlight off, and Jason. We all saw that coming, man. We all saw that coming, but he still did it.
That's probably why Jason packed so many pair of underwear.
All right. So many stories. I'm going to try to keep this, kid friendly. So you guys were in and out of different classes. We get up to Mrs. Turner's class. You're in class together all day.
At 4th grade.
You guys start playing ball together in 4th grade, or?
Then 5th grade and 6th grade, I was in split class with Miss Miller.
Okay.
Yes. I was in Miss Pierce's class in 5th grade and Miss Atkins in the 6th grade.
Johnny's on Mrs. Atkins. Mrs. Pierce, wasn't she the
Miss Pierce, she was from over in Hetzel area. She grew up or lived over just across Blair Mountain.
Yeah, she was our kindergarten teacher when I was in kindergarten, right?
She was only there a couple of years. I'm not real sure.
She was there for 5th grade. She moved back to kindergarten because a lot of us had kindergarten. Anyway.
She was actually probably one of my favorite teachers in grade school.
Is that right?
She was pretty cool.
Is that code for she was cute?
No.
She was pretty cool.
Not at all. But in her class, I was teacher's pet, or maybe she just kept me she put me right beside her desk. My desk was right beside her desk. Everybody else was back where they're supposed to be.
No, you're saying you
kept me there for trouble reasons.
So nobody liked you, in other words.
I don't know about that, but we'll leave that one alone.
A special kid up at the front of the class.
Yeah.
All right. So when's the first time you two remember playing basketball with each other? 4th, 5th grade? When did you guys?
I tried out in 4th grade and didn't make the team, but then played in the 5th grade and 6th grade.
I played 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
It was hard to make the team in the 4th grade. I remember that.
Yes, it was very hard to make the team in 4th grade. You either really tall or really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5th grade, you guys both made the team. Had you guys become pals at that point? You're 11 years old. Do you guys really know each other that well, or?
I guess that would probably be around the time where our parents would start letting us go out and play.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would be us hollering at each other across the creek and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You remember that, Chris? What's your first recollection of that? Like,
I honestly, I have my recollections are a little bit later, but my memory, like I said, Danny and I are both 50. Our memories are fading fast. One thing I do remember about Moore's, and all of us would get together on a Friday night or Saturday night, and we would go over to the movies. And usually, Big Danny had worked all day, so he sat in the passenger seat while Sue drove. And the four of us kids sat in the back seat of a little Honda Accord. I don't know how we all ever got in there side by side. But those some of my better memories.
We
Pizza Hut or Morrison's, one of the two.
Yep. But going back to grade school, yes, playing basketball there. And I think we were probably friends most of the time there anyway, just not. And I mean, living across the creek from each other, I mean, we were always yelling at each other across the creek, or like they said earlier, building damming up the creek so nobody down the river can get any water. I'm not sure what all we done, but we've done some crazy stuff. But we had some other guys there too in number 9. Doug Brown, the Meekers.
You had Doug, and then you had Ron Mosley's kids that came later on.
Yeah.
And then,
Robbie.
you had Rod Kolchuk's daughters.
Yeah.
And Chris.
And sometimes the Bourne kids would come there because they were related to
Well, and then you have Danny Gerald.
Yeah.
He lived there until he was probably at his grandma's house until probably middle school or junior high.
That's right.
So.
They did live there. Yeah.
So
all the Meeker kids.
Then you had the Meeker kids.
And you had Jackie Spurlock and Ronnie.
Yeah, Taylor's and the Spurlocks.
Then you had Regina Gore.
Thompson
girls.
Yeah.
And in Chris's favorite, the little kid, the little next door.
PJ Little.
The next
Paul's
first girlfriend.
I don't know about that now.
Yeah, Pete. Was it Misty?
Yeah, there were Misty and Missy.
Yes.
Missy
older, married Freddie,
right?
And Misty was Chris and Danny's age, and then PJ was PJ was Jason's age.
Yeah, PJ was Jason's age.
There's a story that goes along with them too, if I can tell that one. It's kind of Pet Cemetery-ish. Misty had a cat that died, and I remember it was a black and white cat, and she put it in a shoebox and took it out back and buried it across the railroad tracks. And I don't remember how many months had gone by that cat had already died and been buried. And PJ, he had the idea he wanted to go dig that thing up. So we went and dug up that cat. It was horrible. We were mean. She cried.
That's horrible. I'm just going to end this conversation now. We're going to have to reschedule.
You're all right.
You're getting us trouble now, Chris.
The wheels are coming off this thing.
If you want to get it back to
FBI red flagged right now. Boom. There it goes.
If you want to get it back to basketball real quick, here's your good.
Yes.
So the one cabin we had built in that bottom between number 9 and the grade school, the one next to the creek. Chris and Danny had started a cabin and had a couple like trees, like kind of nailed up onto a couple other trees.
I can't believe I forgot this memory.
We created a basketball hoop.
Basketball, yes.
Out of a rim of a bicycle tire and a piece of plywood for the backboard. And we used to play basketball. They're trying to camp out. It was dark, but I don't know if you guys remember building that or not. But that was a pretty.
We have a fire on each side.
Yeah, just for light.
For light, yeah. And I remember what we put the 2 logs up to nail the backboard to. We had to go to railroad tracks and find railroad spikes and drove one in the bottom, one in the top. That way it couldn't come out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how much we really just enjoyed playing basketball and just having fun. That was a good times.
We were all Michael Jordan back in the day.
Well, do you remember this one in the garage building a basketball rim with a 5-gallon bucket?
In your dad?
I
And
remember
your head's
that.
growing.
Okay. He had a chain hoist. So we made a backboard and put a 5-gallon bucket on it. And we had a little basketball. And we hung it and just reeled it up. And after we reeled it up, every time you shoot, it would spin. So then we had to let it back down, drill a couple holes in it, take rope and tie it to the side. That way the backboard would stay still. And then we'd build a fire in the wood stove, and we'd stay out there and play basketball in the wintertime.
That's awesome.
That basketball was the
Like it.
Yeah.
basketball was kind of the connection, I think, at Sharples. And there were only two sports, as we talked about earlier, before all this. We had basketball or baseball, and most of us usually played both. So it was the thing that kind of united our entire community. I remember the days there at Spruce where there wasn't a bleachers like there was at high school. There was just the stage, and you kind of sat up there, or you lined chairs up around the bounds line. And usually the spectators became part of the game because they were sitting so close to the sideline. And then there was the chair, every other game, or maybe every other play or two, that kind of got thrown out on the floor from our coach at the time.
Always chairs flying around.
Well, no.
Always chairs flying around.
Do you remember the time that he would always grab the chair underneath and slam it down?
Yes.
Do you remember? I don't remember whose foot it was, but he slammed it on somebody's foot.
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember whose foot it was, but I remember that. How painful that was. I'll give
it may have been Timmy Ralph Ball.
It could have been.
Probably.
I just remember.
That's funnier. I don't know why it's funnier, but it is.
I remember he felt bad about it, and he may even got more playing time. I don't know, after he healed up.
What?
One thing, though, with Mr. Lucas, I had to give him credit, because when he came to Spruce, there was nothing else going on at Spruce. We had him come in, and we had Miss Miles come in. Miss Miles has since passed away a few years ago.
Sure did.
But between the two of them, they put together some excellent sports teams. We had volleyball that we did a travel team for that.
That's
And
right.
Mr. Lucas started the basketball team and coached that. I don't remember how good we were. I don't really remember our records or anything. But there were some good times we had there.
Yeah, he made us run for sure. If you didn't do anything else, you learned how to run.
Yes.
And you learn how to, a little bit of motion offense. He tried to get us to play 5th and 6th grade, but it was fun more than anything. I think you're right.
We had a good time and a good memory.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
When Danny and I were in 6th grade and actually got to see some consistent playing time, we always had plays. We had one play, 2 plays, 3 plays. I'm not sure what the numbers were, but the point guard back then for us was Joe Bias. And he was bringing the ball down the court. Yeah, one. So you knew who was going to be shooting the ball at that point. I think all the plays kind of went off of whatever the number was, who's shooting ball.
That's funny.
I do remember I was number 5.
Good. Yeah. What was you were number 5?
And my best attribute or my best contribution to the team is I could take a charge like nobody's business. And I took charges all over the floor. Couldn't make a foul shot afterwards, though. But
now, who was the JV coach when we was in 5th and 6th grade? Ralph Mitchell?
I think it was Ralph Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that
because later I was in 5th grade, Jerry Norman took over.
I was going to say Mr. Norman came in after.
I think so. And then he ended up going to the 7th and 8th grade team or the junior high team. But forget when that happened.
Yeah. I think he did take the 7th and 8th grade team when Jason was in junior high. Yeah,
he was actually there when I was in I want to say 9th grade, 8th grade or 9th grade. Mr. Norman was our coach. 'Cause I remember him telling us that he's looking forward to seeing us in our senior year when we played. So he kind of
that's pretty cool.
Talent developing that, and that was
he did.
Yeah.
I was at Kelly and I were at Mrs. Moxley's house 2 or 3 months ago, and she was asking about all you guys, and just she's been taking an interest in all that's going on. Paul, I think we told you and Frank and Lenny and all the 92 guys, but she donated everything that Ron had left behind in his study, and he had cartons and cartons and cartons and boxes of stuff. And one of them was the scorebook for a 92, but a bunch of scorebooks that were in there. And she pulled out one from, I guess probably when Stevie McComas was a senior, but somewhere around 82, 83, 84, Mr. Moxley took over the junior high as the junior high coach at Sharples High School.
Right.
You guys remember this? Or was
he was, I don't remember the transition, but he was a junior high coach when I was in 7th grade.
okay? All right. So
And Ralph Cook was,
And then when we moved up to high school, he went with us.
he did.
Ralph stepped down. So he was the senior, the high school boys coach, and Moxley was the junior high. Do you guys remember as kids? What's the first memory? I'm just going to go around the horn here. Of you remember going to high school, watch high school basketball games when you're in spruce grade?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the?
I remember Mate 1 and Sharples during school, and Andre Cunningham come through the middle and dunked one.
Was that Melvin's older brother? Cousin.
Melvin's older brother. He played at Marshall.
So yeah, that's right. Sometimes they would play these day games, and Mr. Lucas would bring us up to let us watch.
Yeah.
What about those night games on Friday nights with pizza and like it felt like that gym felt like you couldn't squeeze one more person in it, but it was the best. Like these dudes, whomever it was. I think for me it was probably the Diddy, like 85, 86 year, right after Stevie McComas left. That's the first time I remember.
Yeah, Stevie, I believe, graduated in 84, if I'm right. But I remember some of the guys on the teams back then. When we would come up from grade school and watch those, we were watching Steve McComas, we were watching Earl Dillon. Tuffy Fleshman was one.
Roy
loved watching Tuffy Fleshman. That boy could run like nobody's business.
I've heard his name a million times. Who is Tuffy Fleshman, and what? So he was a good basketball player, just really fast, athletic, or
he was pretty athletic. I don't know. I can't tell a whole lot about it. He's passed on shortly after he graduated.
Wow.
But others that were on that team too, like Flea Mines,
Roy Ball.
Yep.
James.
That was some.
So they wanted to watch.
Yeah.
They were all
Big and athletic.
I mean, they were all like 9 feet tall. And after those guys left, I don't know what happened to the rest of us. We just didn't grow so tall.
All those ball kids, except for Timmy and Ralph, were
Yeah.
Jamie was in between Roy and Timmy and Ralph.
Yes.
Scotty was in there.
And Scotty was in there. I think Jamie was maybe 87.
Oh my God, Scotty Ball. Yes, Ralph, James, Roy was the oldest, right?
Roy was old.
Yeah, or 5.
Then James, Ralph, Scott, and Timmy and
Ralph.
Scott.
They were the youngest.
Kins. Yeah.
Yep.
I forgot about Scott. Yeah, a lot of those kids. But
Yeah.
Danny, what about you? What's your first memory of? You told about the Mate 1 game.
Yes,
It was-
I remember. Let me see. That would have been because Steve was still playing, so that would have been 83 or 84. So I'd been probably 5th or 6th grade when that game happened. And I only remember who won, but I believe that was the first time I ever seen somebody dunk a basketball.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
And they weren't breakaway rims at that time either.
No,
No, they happen.
Really
But I just remember it being just an awesome. You just wanted to be like those kids. If you played ball at Spruce, you wanted to someday play at Sharples. On the varsity, and they just seemed like they were just huge kids, and the cheerleaders were just. It was just a great place to be, man, for a young kid. Right? It was the best.
Absolutely.
I would love to have been able to raise my kids in the same environment that we got raised.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
it really was. Yeah.
that's for sure.
So let's fast forward a little bit. If you don't have any other stories, Paul. So now you guys are playing for Mr. Moxley. It's 8th, 9th grade. What's your first high school season when you guys were sophomores? Tell us about that and what was going on with that transition. I know that's the year Moxley stepped up and Mr. Cook stepped down, right?
Yes.
Followed you guys up. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm trying to remember which group that was. That would have been Jackie Spurlock's and them's senior year.
89, 88?
89, 88, 89. I think that was Jackie Spurlock's senior year. Okay. And basically, we was there for practice and JV games.
So Jackie Spurlock ran the show. It was his. I know he was a good ball player. Was he pretty much?
Well,
Howardy had moved on, right? In 88.
No, Howard 89 also.
Okay, so that's a couple of good ball players on that team. Joe Bias was a year ahead of you guys.
No, Joe was same age, same classes.
He was same age as y'all.
Yeah.
You got Howard. You got probably Scott Ball, right? Jackie Spurlock.
Scott Ball with that group.
I'm trying to remember who else was on that team. I remember that their warm-up jerseys were Jackie. I remember Jackie Spurlock. Their warm-up jerseys was a big thing then, and the pants with the buttons done it.
You had the buttons down the side. You just rip them all. I'm trying to remember who the other two starters was on the 89 team.
Oh, sure. Right.
Was Danny Terrell? He was in there somewhere.
I believe it was Danny.
I can't remember. Starter or Danny was 6 man, but he got a lot of playing time. And
that's right. He was.
I'm trying to remember class ahead of us, which would have been graduated in 90. That would have been their junior year. Who else did we have?
Right, that would have been Danny Terrell.
Yeah, you had Danny.
Darren Workman.
He
probably got a little bit of playing time that year. He might have been a starter, like a Lenny, fast defense.
Yeah.
He might have been a starter.
Darren, I think, started. I believe Darren started his senior year, but I don't believe he did his junior year. So,
Darren, you have to correct us when you see this.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, one story there with that class, and I'll try not to embarrass anybody, so I'll leave the names out. But we played. Hearts was always one of the teams we played that we'd love beating them, but we usually didn't beat them. And we kind of helped them beat us one game because we had the ball, inbounds play. They inbounded the ball. I'll leave the name open, but he drove the ball right back down the court the other way, the wrong way, and scored 2 points. Layup for Hearts. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Charlie Brown. That's harsh.
It wasn't any of us. I'll say that. It wasn't any of us.
Now, that was a hard environment to go play, was hard.
Yes.
I always played my best game. Let me ask this question before we move on to y'all's junior and senior years. I want to ask a little bit about basketball culture. What did you guys see change between that 10th and 11th grade year? But I always had my best games against Van and Hearts. For some reason, those teams where you're like, whether it's baseball, like I knew certain pitchers that I was just going to, take yard. But like in basketball, Van and Hart, who was y'all's teams that you knew, like, I'm going to feel it tonight? Did you guys have teams like that?
I never had.
We just brought it every night.
I never had a team that I would it would just happen. You just never knew.
You expected it to let it go, to go with it. Did you guys remember as young basketball players knowing what it's like when you feel like, oh man, I got a hot hand. I'm going to keep getting the ball or asking for the ball or being more aggressive than I normally would. Do you remember that?
Probably happened more my senior year than it did 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
You did a lot of.
Danny had some really good games his senior year.
I remember some real strong baseline moves, and you were really, really good at 10, 15 feet, and then you'd pop out and shoot a three whenever. So you guys.
I picked up more points off of just cheap rebounds.
Yeah.
I would consistently get probably 5 or 6 rebounds, and 3 or 4 of them be offensive rebounds, and I'd score 6 or 8 points a game easily just off of offensive rebounds
And putbacks. Yeah.
and put.
What do you so what changed? All right, so you guys are playing a lot of JV. You're there to help the high school practice. What was going on between your 10th and 11th grade year? When did you guys start, tell us a little bit about that and practice. Did you guys go to basketball camp that year?
We went to basketball camp, would have been summer of 1990. We went to Fairmont State. So that would have been our junior year, or just after our junior year, going into our senior year.
Okay.
I don't remember a whole lot about our sophomore year. I mean, playing time my sophomore year was next to nothing. It was JV squad. But that was some fun stuff and helped build some skills there too. But then going into 11th grade, I do remember our 11th year. Our record at the end of the year was 4-17. That's 4 losses. I'm sorry, 4 wins and 17 losses.
Your junior year high school.
Our junior year. So that'd been 1989-90 season. And then summer of 1990 is when we went to Fairmont State to the basketball camp up there. And that's when things really started improving for basketball-wise at Sharples. We picked up, I forget what the coach's name was, that we pulled some offense from.
Honeycutt.
Fairmont State.
Breton was
Red.
Okay. But he gave whatever offense he was running, it was some sort of a motion offense. He gave that to Ron Moxley, and Ron Moxley brought that back with us from camp, and we implemented that the following year. And that year, I believe we had, it was either 6 or 7, maybe somewhere around 7 or 8 games where we broke over 100 points in a game. It was a fast offense, and we had a lot of fun running it.
You guys won 11 games that year?
I think we was 11.
That year, I think we broke even. We went from 4-17 the year before to either a break even or a winning season by 1.
If I just checking your yearbook, I believe it went that you guys wrapped it up 11-10, so slightly.
That sounds about right.
And which included the sectional loss. Do you guys remember the sectional that year?
I remember that. We came within a couple of points of win.
Well, I remember we beat Van in order to get to the second final. And that was a highly contested game. And then we got beat by Birch. Or was it Birch or Hearts?
I'm thinking it's for that year. I think it was I'm thinking Mate won.
That's what,
Yeah, Hearts was in our region. Hearts would have been at the next. Yeah, they were still in our region.
I think it was May.
Melvin Cunningham, our senior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the sectional was at Mate 1, right? Didn't all 4 teams go to Mate 1 to play those 2 nights?
I don't know.
Jeff, I don't remember where we played that one at.
Yeah, but
We played at Logan.
you played where?
At Logan.
That's right. That's where it was.
Okay.
And the following year it was too for Paul and him. So
Yeah.
Right.
all right, so we did a whole lot of fast forwarding there, but when did you guys that junior year, did you feel like so you didn't go to camp until after your junior year?
Yes. Well, and I didn't go camp. I played American League in baseball that summer.
For Ted Ellis?
Yes.
Yeah. What was junior year like? The year you guys won 4 games. Tell us a little bit more about that. I'm sure you guys got more playing time. Where was the frustrations, and was it just lack of team ball?
The 9 class was a very large group of guys. So then we really had no senior leadership our junior year.
Right.
I think the only 2 we had was Darren and Danny Terrell.
Because everybody else had played from their grade, just the 2 of them.
And I don't remember if there was another senior on that team our junior year.
Yeah, that was just the 2 of them, and we had a lot of close games. I mean, our games weren't like we weren't getting blown out. We were losing a whole lot of games, by 2-3 points. But it was frustrating that year to watch as everybody just kind of broke down, and it seemed like they all went to their own corners, and we couldn't really have a team ball because of the frustration. And when you lose that many games and they're that close together, people start blaming other people, and I don't know that there's anybody to blame. But it was just a tough year all the way around, and I think we learned from that year. And over the next couple of years, really put together a couple of teams that enjoyed each other, enjoyed being around each other, and really had a heart for the game and wanted to win.
Yeah. I was gonna say, now that we're older too, and I'm sure you guys have all helped out coaching other teams and things, and we see the value of every minute you get of experience playing, every minute on the court, it improves you somehow. Yes. And most teams now have community leagues, places where they can take kids and they go play in a community league. And we didn't really have that growing up. So playing against each other, like over in Danny and the Moore's driveway, they had a blacktop driveway with a backboard on the side. Just playing there or running up to grade school and playing on that hoop. We had our own community ball league, just a bunch of kids playing.
It was pick.
Yeah.
We had pickup. And you think about it, you had Spruce Grade School, the basketball court and tennis court between the two schools.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have a lot of pickup games there. And I mean, before cell phones and all that, you would have to plan this out at school. Hey, let's meet at the meet up here at 6 o'clock or whatever, and have the rim at the house. Or we would sometimes go up Monclo there to church.
Mm-hmm.
And having a mother as the secretary of the high school helped a little bit too, because we were every weekend. I mean, we'd go up and unlock the doors, turn the lights on, and have pickup games up there too at the high school. Those were fun.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about that gym and some of the stuff that we done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
I know the story you're thinking of there.
Let's hear it, Danny.
No, we'll leave that one for another time.
You gotta save a little meat on the bone there. Yeah, you don't want to get all the tricks all at once. Well, so y'all senior season, obviously you saw a huge transition. You guys were now the senior leaders. You had a pretty big class of, the Ball brothers and Bruce Linville and you two.
See, I don't. Did Timmy and Ralph play our senior year?
Timmy and Ralph did. I don't think Bruce played our senior year.
Bruce didn't play the senior year. Did Kevin play? He didn't play the junior year.
I think Kevin was back our senior year and played. Kevin,
I think junior year.
Yeah, Kevin left. I'm not sure which year he actually left. When he left, he and I were about the same height, and he went out to California for a year. And when he came back, I don't know what was in the water in California, but that dude, he grew like a whole other foot. You literally had to look up to him. He was that tall, and he was a pretty good ball player too his senior year.
Yeah. And then the class behind you had obviously a good group of ball players that were coming up too. So you guys won 11 games, lost to 8-1 in the sectional final. And what are you feeling as the 92 season? You guys are off figuring out college plans, working, and you're just barely out of school, and you're seeing this 92 class come up behind you. You guys had probably built some. I remember I went to Fairmont with you that year as well as a 9th grader, but you had built a pretty good relationship with that 92 squad. What's it like now sitting at home on the sidelines watching them play the next year as you see the season, progress?
I so want to be on the bench with them that year. That was a fun year. I was able to go to every single game except for one. Loved watching them win. Loved watching how well they played together, how well they got along together as a team. It was magic that year.
Absolutely. Just
the
strength you have wasn't there with them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Yeah, I know it's got to be tough. Yeah, and sorry to bring up such a sore subject, but I'm sure you guys were happy for them. And Paul, did you guys feel that class ahead of you after they graduated? Their support and
We did, and even the whole community, just knowing, and everybody would come out to support the team. You'd see on the sidelines and hear them cheering for you. I remember even like if Paul Burgess' dad getting haircuts and stuff, and you'd hear some of the older folks in the community talking about the games, and it was just really an awesome year.
yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing about our high school that's different from other schools and all that is we didn't have a football team. So we didn't have the Friday night lights and all that. When it came to basketball season, that was our biggest event in the community.
On any given basketball night in Sharples, a thief could have come through and started at the bottom of Blair Mountain and went all the way through Clothier and robbed everybody there because we were all at the game. So,
yeah,
it was a good atmosphere. And I remember there's probably a couple of articles that I remember seeing back in the Logan Banner back in those days, just about the atmosphere that we were experiencing there at Sharples.
Do you remember fight for Logan?
Yes.
Was it Teddy Painter?
Teddy Painter from the Logan Banner? Yeah, the writer.
Yeah. He was the one that he came to every game of ours.
He did.
Yeah.
It was the whole community was centered around that and the friendships and all that good stuff, man. Speaking of haircuts, Paul, I don't want to, bring our basketball conversation to an end here. I don't know how we got through this entire call without talking about all your many hairstyles that you've had over the years and how you got there. Good decisions and bad decisions, how one makes a good decision. And you make a good decision when you're around your cousin and he's got a pair of clippers and he's very confident.
Oh no. That brings back some awful memories, Jeff. I don't know how old we were there.
I think you were not, dude. You were going off to college. It was your freshman year of college, and so all summer, dude, we're hanging out, we're working, we're doing. That was a fun summer.
That was a great time.
Danny, we're up doing stuff. That was also probably the summer of that was probably the summer of a lot of crazy stuff up there at the cabins. But yeah, you were going off. You were going off to college, and I'm like, we're gonna cut hair, man. I got these clippers; they're amazing. Let's try them out.
No, that's not quite how it happened.
So, Paul, he let me behind the wheel with a set of clippers, and I went to town on him, and it was not good. It was not good. Your mom was so mad. So then I shaved my head. We were bald, dude. We had balls in there. We're like, this is gonna be great.
It's amazing how karma comes back, ain't it?
So we went from one end of number 9 to the other. We got John Mayhorn, and he's like, all right, I'll do it if you guys are doing it. So I shaved. Then we got little Roy Aldridge. We saved his head. We went across the creek. We got Robbie Moxley. We shaved everybody's head. No, I don't think we stopped.
And then they had to take the clippers off of you. That was that had to be enough.
Somebody take those clippers from that boy. But yeah, I think I missed my calling as a barber. But Paul, I mean, how do you get in the middle of these really poor life decisions?
I don't know, just thrown into it somehow. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And then I think we started cutting our own hair when we went to the basketball camp, and the guy's name was Hank. And he and a couple other college players that were our coaches, they were cutting each other's hair. We thought, that's pretty cool. Why don't we do that? And so we did. We started cutting our own hair then after that.
Who was it that got sunburn on top of their head?
That was Lenny
Workman with Valerie walking around.
Yeah, Johnny Kish. Johnny Kish drove one of his cars up there. It was a convertible, and there were 3 or 4 kids rode with him with the top down the whole way from Sharples to Fairmont. And I'm like, dude, that kid's head, it was beet red. It was beet red.
I thought he did that. I remember another time when he got sunburned so bad. And I thought it was that same time. And he was at Cedar Point all day with no sunscreen on that bald head, man. And
He
it
obviously didn't learn a lesson.
it was so bad. It was painful.
Hey, there's another story there at camp too. Our first night there, we get there, we're all staying in the dorms. These beds were horrible beds, but they had this little mattress on them that's maybe 6 inches thick. About the and Joe Pickett, I'm sorry if you're watching. It was me that stole your mattress. But for the entire week that we were there at basketball camp, the first night there, I went into one of the other rooms and just by chance got Joey Pickett's mattress, and I took it in there. So I had 2 mattresses on my bed, pretty comfortable all week long.
Oh, that's dark, man. You dug up a dead cat, and you stole another human being's mattress. Some dark stuff.
It's bad stuff.
That is bad.
I'm not a good role model some days.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey,
Apologizing for it 30 years later.
The mystery is solved.
whew. Man, it has been really fun catching up with you guys. You two are coming to the reunion, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Got
All right. If, when you see teachers and classmates out there, let them know. You know, we need everybody to show up. We got to pass the torch along, or we're not going to have Sharples High School to talk about in future, you guys. So, thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks to my cousins and my number 9 pals from way back. They taught me the ropes. They taught me good bicycle maintenance, and how to build a sled when you don't have a sled.
Well, I will tell another one on my brother. Do y'all remember when he came across the bridge on a bicycle and it flipped over and hit him in the head?
Yes.
He left John Mayhorn, Ronnie Mayhorn and John Mayhorn's house, and I was on the motorcycle, and he said, "Give me a head start to the bridge and I'll beat you home."
Yep.
I said, "Okay." He had not tightened up the nut on the handlebar. So when he come to the bridge at an angle, he cut the wheel, but the tire stayed straight. He went right over the edge, missed the old pier, but then the bicycle hit him in the back of the head, gashed his head open. He had to get a bunch of stitches in the back of his head.
Oh my goodness.
So
That's crazy. There was always some crazy shenanigans going on around there. It was a great little neighborhood.
great child.
Great community.
Yeah.
We live in Sharples. So good folks.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let's not wait so long next time. And thank you for your stories and appreciate you guys so much. Everybody take care.
Good seeing all of you.
Everybody come to reunion September
Thanks
1st and
for the
2nd, 2023.
Yep.
See you guys.
See ya.
Ashley, is that you?